Welcome to Grand Junction. We are celebrating art on the corner, as well as the entire artist community in Grand Junction.
Art on the Corner has created a very important and powerful connection with the people who live, work, and visit downtown. The art there has a presence.
You can go to a sculpture park and you can see sculptures and you can walk through it, but you're not necessarily going to meet the artist and you're not going to see the work being installed.
Kids see it and adults see it and visitors see it, and people take visitors down there when family comes to town. You know, you go down and check out the new Art on the Corner exhibit.
Art on the Corner is public art at its best. Grand Junction has been put on the map several times. Probably the first time was at the turn of the century when we started growing fruit, and our fruit was shipped all over the world. And then came Operation Foresight. And Operation Foresight was the project that took our big, wide, crumbling Main Street and made it into a serpentine pattern. And we were like one of the first in the nation to do that. And then it really changed the way downtown looked. It became a shopping park, and it gave it some guts.
It was an all-American city in the 1960s. Seems to be ingrained in the culture here to do those innovative, forward-thinking things.
Art on the Corner put us on the map again.
It's neat because Art on the Corner really is just an evolution of some of these things that have been happening for a long time.
It was one of the very first rotating exhibits of sculpture in downtown areas, certainly the first in the West.
Art on the Corner began in 1984.
Dave Davis, who started Art on the Corner along with numerous other local and regional sculptors, was a real character. I mean, he was just a volcano of ideas.
He looked at the valley and what we had here to offer as far as environment and culture, and he combined that with his love of art.
Dave Davis and the whole community were reeling from the fact that Exxon had pulled out of up near Parachute, and it was called Black Sunday. Every attorney had piles and piles of foreclosures on their desks, and people were moving out in droves. Dave was walking down Main Street, I guess it was one evening, with his dog, and he looked around and said, they could use some art down here.
He rallied the community and artists to help create these beautiful programs.
Then Dave called on his friends to say, I know you've got extra sculptures, bring them downtown, let us display them for a year.
And it seemed like a really simple idea, put art on the corner. And he thought that this could serve as a revitalization of downtown. It could bring interest.
And he started going store to store, getting contributions from people he never thought would give him money. That's where it took off.
They helped artists sell their work by getting it out in front of the public and making it available. And also they really did make Grand Junction look very artistic, and that attracts visitors, tourists, it attracts business, it attracts new residents. Artists come from all over the region, even all over the country, and help put in the pieces.
I was here about a couple of years ago with a friend of mine. And we came down here at night and looked around the downtown and looked at all the art, and I thought, I wouldn't mind doing this. My name is Joe Forrest Sackett. I usually go as Joe Sackett, but that's my nom de art. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. The name of the piece is Seismogram. Among other things, I wanted to make a curvilinear object out of rectilinear parts. So everything is straight, but the piece is not straight.
These artists that are from the region, from the Grand Valley, and also beyond, come to town to install their work, as well as the artists from last year come to deinstall their work.
There's a big orange monster, and it's going to grab the center parts and lift it up. We're not going to hit the light post, the awning, or the tree. And then we're going to pin it to the concrete using the bolt holes and using some concrete anchors. I am Reverend Marie Swanson, and this is my sculpture Taffeta.
FCI, which is a construction company, donates equipment and personnel to help the installation of the new artwork.
I think FCI has been installing the new exhibit for at least 20 years.
We've been installing the art pieces. I primarily have been running the reach forklift, which is dealing with all the heavy pieces, primarily the ones over 500 pounds-ish. We had one that was 5,000 pounds today. I had 12 guys here today, including myself. Well, we generally start at 7 in the morning, and most times we're done by noon. I started out just helping and installing, and then when Rollins Sorensen decided to retire, then I just took over the reins. And I also give input before the installations so that we try to weed out the pieces that might be dangerous to the public or too fragile and they'll get broken and damaged.
I liken it to like a barn raising somewhat. So you have all these people coming together with a common goal to install this great new art exhibit downtown.
Most of the sculptures are located on Main Street between 1st and 7th Street. That being said, we are slowly putting more sculptures onto Colorado as well as Rude as more commercial activity starts to happen there.
This year, the DDA and Downtown Grand Junction was named a creative district in Colorado, which is huge, which is a really big distinction. State funding comes with that. It's as important to growing and sustaining this environment downtown.
I'm Kyle Ocean, and this is Skyline. I won the Best in Show award. I'm really happy about it. I'm from Fort Collins. This is my first time to Grand Junction. Really cool. I really like to have my pieces be very public interactive. So this piece is, very large scale, obviously, which I like a lot, and it's kind of fun to just walk a bit amongst it as these wonderful folks are doing right now, and I really like that. So I think this is a great spot because you can come right down this walkway. You don't have to walk through it, but if you want to meander over through, it's just right there and it's easily accessible.
It's kind of reminiscent of what happens to a building in an earthquake, The building kind of does this, and then it does that. I think it's going to work very well here. I mean, initially it was going to be across the street, and I'm much happier with it here. I think it'll be nice. You have to look around, see what interests you, see what you find intriguing, not only in terms of art, but just in terms of the world, shapes, stuff that looks good to you. And then you have to try to do something. You learn by doing, you know what I mean? And so that's what you have to do in order to get better, is to try it, do it.
Downtown's Art on the Corner has some very remarkable pieces that have stood the test of time. And I think the most famous that becomes the poster child of Art on the Corner is Lou Willie's bumper buffalo.
The chrome on the range as well as the big mountain bike, and those are kind of iconic pieces that if you saw the image of that, you'd know that's Grand Junction.
One of the pieces this year has some great parts to it. Irons and waffle irons and just things that you find.
Another one that people really, really love is the girl on the bike. And it's fun to watch. People will pull up to that stoplight and they'll look to the right and they will see that girl in the short shorts on the bike, and for one moment you can tell they think she's real. The apple with the ant is one that is a real charmer.
This one is one of my very favorites. This piece got put in 1998 and I was around 12 at the time. And every time that I came down to Main Street, this was the one that I had to walk by. They've really put the art in places where kids are allowed to interact with it. It's good to be able to touch and feel and look at all the little nooks and crannies. I bring my littles down here because I want them to be able to interact with art that way and look at things and figure out how they're put together.
The culture impact is huge. It's not just what people get necessarily emotionally by looking at it, but in its absence, or if they think that something negative is happening to it, they get feisty. They have ownership. They have an emotional affliction for these pieces.
There's this piece that's been there forever and it moves. It's almost like a part of the building moved.
When we took a piece down, the puff prints, we needed to get it repatinaed. You would have thought that we canceled Christmas.
And he was so overloved. He was like an old ratty-tatty teddy bear that we sent him off last year and had him cleaned up and refurbished. And he's back down and all kissable again.
People just rubbed it too much. You have to get these things fixed, which is better than when cars hit them.
We've had 2 sculptures actually stolen. One was, it's an arrowhead shape. It's a beautiful bronze. It just disappeared one day. And then they found it several years later in the bottom of the Grand Valley Canal. And you can still see it's got some bullet marks in it. So someone stole it, took target practice and threw it in the canal. And the other one is the pig that sits at 6th and Main. It used to have a slot in the top and people would drop in coins and money. And some guy coming out of the bar decided he needed some little bit of loose change and he ended up stealing the whole piggy bank. And I don't know how they caught him, but they caught him and ended up sealing up the money slot so that it wouldn't be tempting anyone anymore.
One time, a woman backed out of a parking space and backed all the way across the street and hit a pedestal and kind of knocked the piece off. We had to, in the early years, we sort of had the pedestals a little too close to the street. And so we learned you have to back them away from the curb because either people would open their car door into them or they would just run into them with their car. So.
We do love these pieces. We enjoy the art that's brought to us from different parts of the country. We live about a quarter-mile away and we come down here quite often to enjoy the art. Yeah, it is. It's very, very interesting, very exciting.
Public art is free. Most people think a city park is trees and grass, water fountains, shelters, and play equipment, but downtown Main Street is a park. The best part about public art is that it is interactive.
I mean, we're conditioned in a gallery or museum to not touch the art, but in this setting, to watch the children and how they interact with it, how they're drawn to a specific piece, how they want to spin a piece, or they want to climb a piece, or they want to explain to their parents or their siblings what they think this abstract object is communicating to them.
Then we're going to set up and watch how quickly will it take the first child to start crawling on it.
Another thing that's part of Art on the Corner is Legends of the Grand Valley.
It was going to be 5 famous Grand Junction people, 5 in 5 years. There was such a great response to the first 5, it ended up being 9.
The one that started it off was the Dalton Trumbo in a bathtub in front of the Avalon Theater, and it is one of the most popular.
This is the 34th year that Art on the Corner has been installed, and it does create a great heritage. And I think a lot of kids, are particularly interested in sculpture because they've seen it. If they're Grand Junction kids, they've grown up with it.
Exposing children to art at an early age will help build a foundation of learning, just like we would with math or science or languages. They are our future.
Truthfully, what excites me as an educator the most is when the students are excited, when their work is selected, when they see their work downtown, when they install their work downtown, the glow in their eyes and the energy in their young minds, and you can just see the wheels spinning like this can work. This is a profession that I can pursue.
I think it's a really cool way for the younger artists to have a place to showcase and get real-world experience in the art market.
My name is Ricky Cook, and the title of my piece is In a Hurry to Extinction. Art is a wonderful tool for raising awareness of different social and environmental issues because it gives people a way to interact and feel passionate towards that piece of art. I created this piece at Colorado Mesa University. It took me 3.5 years to complete. This is my first piece down here on Main Street. It's cast iron, so we actually get donated cast iron bathtubs and radiators
at
the college. So we break them down into little pieces and then we melt them in a big furnace.
Did you melt him and sculpt him, or did you cast him in?
I cast him.
Okay.
I originally made the pattern out of styrofoam
Okay.
and carpet foam.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My name is Zach Tabb, and this is Revivication. I'm from Colorado Springs. I made it at Colorado Mesa University. This is my second time participating on Art on the Corner. I love its interactivity, and it's downtown. People can sit in it, come down to Main Street Bagels, and come sit in my chair and have a bagel.
Art on the Corner.
Its education to the community is somewhat subversive. It's not in your face that you are learning something, but you're interacting with this work in our space, in our reality, and sculpture has the ability to do that because it isn't on a fictitious plane on a wall, but it's in our dimensions. It's three-dimensional, it's on the corner. And in that sense, you may not realize, but artwork can change a community.
Art helps us see the world in a different manner. It helps us with our personalities. It helps us deal with people a little bit more understandably. If you can find a reason and rationale in a sculpture, that you can understand another person.
Everyone recognizes the fact that having creative people in a community makes a community more attractive.
Art on the Corner is public art at its best, and it represents so many of the different values and the talent that we have in the Grand Valley and surrounding areas.
Having art is a really big economic driver that maybe people don't always think about. We've seen a huge uptick in amount of businesses opening as well as new development areas.
It brings vitalization to downtown. We have people that specifically come here to look at the art, and then that just spins off into spending a night at a hotel, spending some money there, coming out to see other things.
Art on the Corner and public art of all kinds really is a great financial investment.
I'm excited to see it grow. I'm excited to see what and how we can improve and make the experience richer.
The future in Grand Junction of art is going to set precedent for many other public art programs across maybe even the world, but definitely across the United States.
Dave Davis was one person with one great idea, and he sold it to the city council, to downtown businesses, and local sculptors, and it just took off. And now it is up to the next generation to keep that going.
I love it. It's such a great opportunity to be down here and have all of these people walking by and seeing my art. I hope when they see this sculpture, they fall in love with it and they want to play with it and kiss it and just hang out with it.
All of the artists around the community are coming together and exploring what their art means to the community and showing themselves off.
Well, throw your heart out there, you know, just keep making art. That's the best way you can keep alive good ideas. And, you know, I just feel like everywhere I go, I leave a little piece of sunshine. And it just kind of brightens people's day and gets them going.
I think whatever you're passionate about, you should pursue it and don't let anyone tell you that it's not practical.
Don't give up on yourself. The only reason you lose out on success is if you don't try.
I think Art on the Corner is here to stay, and I think that's Dave's legacy.
Any kind of public art shows a lot of pride, and Grand Junction has a lot to be proud of.